Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're gonna be taking a peek behind the curtain of something that might seem a little, well, ordinary at first glance.
Uh,
Document control.
Interesting.
Yeah, not exactly the most glamorous topic, right?
Uh,
But stick with us because we're using this really cool article from Indeed.com, the UK site,
okay.
all about, you guessed it,
Document controller.
document controller interview questions. Now, I know you might not be, polishing up your resume to become a document controller,
Probably not.
but hear me out. Okay.
Okay.
This article, it actually gives us some like crazy good insights into how information like flows or doesn't flow in any organization. And that's something we can all relate to.
For sure. For sure. It's one of those roles that, most people don't really think about until something goes wrong.
Exactly.
And suddenly everyone's scrambling.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. So let's get right into it. The article, it like jumps into the core responsibilities of a document controller.
Mm-hmm.
And I was honestly kind of surprised by how much more there is to it than just, filing. We're talking like managing confidential documents,
Yeah.
converting all those piles of paper records into digital files.
Uh-huh.
And even like playing detective when files go missing. Did any of those tasks surprise you?
Well, what's interesting to me is how these seemingly simple tasks, they actually they connect to some really vital parts of how an organization works.
Play what?
Well, think about it. Legal compliance, making sure you're following all the rules,
Oh, yeah.
protecting sensitive information, keeping things confidential,
Mhm.
and even just making sure that projects run smoothly, that everyone has the information they need when they need it.
Makes sense.
Imagine a company misplaces a crucial contract,
Right.
like
Oh, that's a nice.
because of, sloppy document management. That could lead to some serious legal and financial headaches.
Yeah, no kidding. It's easy to kind of forget how important all this is until, like you said, something goes wrong. I mean, haven't we all like lost a crucial file at some point or spent way too long searching for the right version of a document?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all been there.
It's the worst.
It definitely highlights the need for having good systems in place, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a formal document management system like, I don't know, SharePoint, or even just like a really well-organized personal filing system.
Exactly. So even if you're, not planning on a career in document control, this stuff is like super relevant to, well, all of us.
I think so.
Now, the article, it also dives into the skills that you need for this kind of role.
Okay.
And it really emphasizes communication, multitasking, being comfortable with technology. And then, of course, like organization is a big one. It seems like a lot to juggle.
Oh, it definitely is. And each of those skills is super important in its own way.
Yeah.
Like a document controller might have to explain a really technical document to someone who has no clue about the jargon.
Oh, yeah,
So you need strong communication skills there.
absolutely.
They're often dealing with like multiple projects, deadlines all at the same time.
Right.
So multitasking is essential.
Mm-hmm.
And these days, with everything becoming so tech-driven, mastering software like those document management systems is crucial.
So it's not just about being, like super organized. It's about being a master communicator,
Right.
an efficiency guru,
Oh.
and a tech whiz all rolled into one.
Exactly. And when we look at the bigger picture, these skills, they're really transferable to so many other jobs.
That's true.
Think about it. Clear communication,
Mm-hmm.
efficient multitasking, being comfortable with technology. Those are valuable assets no matter where you work.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that really jumped out at me in the article was this question about like finding a missing file
Okay.
and dealing with a client who's, well, let's just say, not happy.
Oh.
It sounds like document control requires some serious detective work
A little bit, yeah.
and some serious diplomacy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not just about managing the documents themselves, it's about managing those tricky situations.
Right.
And that often involves, problem-solving
Yeah.
people skills.
Yeah.
Like a document controller might have to track down that missing information, figure out where things went wrong, and then communicate clearly and calmly with the client, even if they're, frustrated or upset.
That sounds like it takes a lot of initiative and composure.
It does, especially when you're under pressure.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of taking ownership, even when mistakes happen,
Right.
and finding a way to move forward while still keeping those client relationships strong.
For sure. It's amazing how, like, document control, it involves all these skills that go way beyond just, staying organized.
Right.
Like the article, it even mentions handling a team member who's, not meeting deadlines,
Hmm.
which honestly, that feels like a pretty universal challenge, right? Like in any
Oh,
workplace.
absolutely. It's something that pretty much every manager has to deal with at some point.
Right.
And it's interesting because this scenario, it really shows the leadership side of document control.
Okay.
A good leader in this role, they need to be able to set clear expectations for their team,
Mm-hmm.
but also motivate them
Yeah.
and provide support when it's needed.
Right, right. Because maybe that team member, they're struggling with the software or they just have way too much on their plate.
Exactly. A skilled document controller, they would try to figure out the root cause of the problem
Mm-hmm.
and then offer solutions instead of just, coming down hard on them for missing a deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's about creating that kind of collaborative environment where everyone feels supported
Uh-huh.
and they feel like they can, do their best work.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how all these skills, they're all so interconnected.
Right.
Like you can't just be organized and, detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
You need that blend of communication skills, problem solving, and leadership
Yeah.
to really excel in this role.
Absolutely. And speaking of, needing a variety of skills,
Yeah.
don't forget adaptability. The world of document control, it's constantly changing.
Oh, yeah, for
New
sure.
technologies, new regulations.
Mm.
I mean, think about how much things have shifted toward digital documents and cloud-based systems.
It's a whole different world.
It is. So a document controller, they have to be comfortable with learning new software, adapting to new processes,
Uh-huh.
and basically like staying ahead of the curve.
Staying ahead of the curve, yeah. It's a
Uh,
constant learning process.
Exactly. And speaking of new technology, I've been thinking about the growing role of AI and automation in the workplace
Okay, yeah.
and how that might, impact the future of document control.
That's a great question. It's
Right.
something that a lot of folks in the field are talking about these days.
Hmm.
AI, it can definitely automate certain tasks.
Right. Like data entry, I imagine.
Yeah, data entry.
Basic file organization, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But I don't think it's going to like completely replace the human element to the job.
Okay. Yeah.
Document control, it requires critical thinking,
Hmm.
nuanced judgment, the ability to handle those complex situations,
Right.
all of which are, still very much human strengths.
So it's more about AI like kind of augmenting the role of a document controller rather than replacing it altogether.
Yeah, I think that's a much better way to put it.
Okay.
Imagine a document controller who can use AI to, I don't know, quickly analyze huge data sets,
Hmm.
identify potential compliance issues,
Yeah.
or even predict future document needs.
Oh. Okay.
That frees them up to focus on more strategic stuff, right?
Nice.
Like developing better document management systems or training their team on new technologies.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's not about, fearing the robots. It's about figuring out how to work with them to make ourselves even better at what we do.
I like that. We've talked a lot about the skills and responsibilities of a document controller,
We have.
but I'm kind of curious to hear your take on the bigger picture here. Like, why does document control matter? Not just for, individual companies, but for like society as a whole.
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
Document control at its heart, it's about ensuring transparency,
Mm-hmm.
accountability,
Mm-hmm.
and trust.
Okay.
Think about all the documents that our society is built on, right?
Like what?
Legal contracts, medical records,
Oh, yeah.
financial transactions, historical archives.
Right.
Without proper document control, those systems would just fall apart.
It'd be chaos.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to prove ownership, track progress, or hold people accountable for their actions.
Wow. It's like the glue that holds everything together.
It really is.
Yeah.
And in a world where information is becoming more and more valuable,
Mm,
document control plays a vital role in protecting that information and making sure that it's accurate and reliable.
right.
It's like safeguarding our collective memory
Wow.
and enabling us to function as a society.
That's a really powerful way to put it.
It's a bigger responsibility than most people realize.
It is. Document controllers, they're almost like guardians of our history and our future.
In a way, yeah,
And it's definitely a role that deserves a lot more recognition than it usually gets.
I agree.
Well, hopefully our little deep dive here today has shed some light on the importance of document
Mhm.
control and how much more complex it is than people might think.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just filing.
It is. And maybe it's even got some people thinking about how they manage information in their own lives.
That would be great.
Right.
Because we all have our own systems, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's organizing our personal files, using cloud storage, or just, keeping track of to-do lists and notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those systems, well, they could use a little work, right?
Oh, definitely. And that actually reminds me of something.
What's that?
That part in the Indeed article where they talk about how document controllers, they choose those electronic data management systems.
Right.
It got me thinking about how we all kind of design our own personal document management systems,
Okay.
even if we don't realize it.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
Right. We're all making decisions about how to categorize information,
Mm-hmm.
where to store it, how to find it later.
Exactly. And those choices, they can have a huge impact on how productive we are, how efficient we are, and even like our overall peace of mind.
It's true. A well-designed system, it can save you so much time and stress
Mm-hmm.
and help you stay organized.
Right.
But a poorly designed one, that can lead to, chaos,
Look, yeah.
frustration,
Uh-huh.
even missed opportunities.
Ugh, I don't even want to think about it.
So let's turn this into a challenge for our listeners.
Okay, I like it.
Imagine you could design the perfect document management system
Okay.
for your work or your life.
Mm-hmm.
What would it look like?
What features would it have?
Would it be like totally digital? Or would you still want some physical elements?
Oh, that's a good question.
Would it be really structured and categorized
Hmm.
or more, flexible and adaptable?
There's no right or wrong answer, obviously.
Right.
The point is just to get you thinking about how you manage information
Mm-hmm.
and how you could maybe improve your own systems.
Exactly. Share your ideas with us on social media. We'd love to hear what you come up with.
Yeah, because even a deep dive like this, it's just the beginning of the exploration.
It is.
It's up to each of us to take what we've learned and apply it to our own lives.
Make it your own.
Exactly. So go forth
Go forth.
and conquer your document chaos.
Conquer that chaos.
And remember, a well-managed document system.
It is a beautiful thing.
Wow, we've really gone deep today exploring this whole world of document control.
Have.
It's amazing how something that seems so basic on the surface
Mm.
is actually so complex
Right.
and vital to like how our world works.
It really is. It's kind of like an iceberg,
Yeah,
You only see the tip,
Mhm.
the filing, the organization, but underneath there's this whole world of skills and strategies and even philosophies about how we manage information.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
And speaking of those hidden depths, remember that question in the Indeed article about how document controllers choose those electronic data management systems? They have to think about so many things.
They do.
Security, compliance, user friendliness, making sure it can grow with the organization.
Scalability. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a huge responsibility.
And it made me realize that we all face those same kinds of challenges in our own lives,
Mm.
even if we're not dealing with, these big, complicated systems.
Right.
Whether we're organizing files on our computer or using a cloud storage service or even just like writing notes in a notebook,
Mm-hmm.
we're all essentially designing our own little document management system.
We're all information architects in a way.
I like that.
Right. We're constantly making choices about how to categorize information, where to keep it, how to find it again later.
Exactly. And just like a document controller needs to choose the right system for their organization,
Mm-hmm.
we need to find systems that work for our own, individual needs.
Our own quirks.
Yeah, exactly.
What works for one person might be a total disaster for someone else.
Totally. So it's not about finding the one perfect system that works for everybody.
Right.
It's about understanding the principles of good document management
Mm-hmm.
and applying those to our own, unique situations.
Make it your own.
Exactly.
That's the key.
So for listeners out there who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by their own document chaos,
Oh, yeah. I know those folks.
what advice would you give them for creating a system that actually works?
Well, first things first, take a step back
Okay.
and look at your current situation.
Mm-hmm.
What's working?
Mm.
What's driving you crazy? What are your biggest pain points?
Yeah.
Once you really understand the problem, then you can start looking for solutions.
Makes sense. And there are so many resources out there these days.
There are.
Apps, online courses, even professional organizers.
If you need that extra help.
It's about, finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
Try different things, see what sticks, and be open to changing your system as you go. The goal is to make your life easier, not more complicated.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
If you could design, the ultimate document management system for your work or your life,
Oh, I love this question.
what would it look like? What features would it have? Would it be all digital? Would you still keep some paper around? Would it be super structured and organized?
Or more free-flowing.
Share your ideas with us on social media. We'd love to hear what you come up with.
We will.
Because even a deep dive like this, it's just the start.
It is. It's the beginning of the journey.
It's up to each of us to take what we've learned and put it into practice.
Keep it real.
So go forth and conquer that document chaos.
Conquer that chaos.
And remember,
A well-managed document system.
it is a beautiful thing.
Until next time.
Keep diving deeper.
And keep those documents under control.